What's up, guys? Sitting right behind me is the 2025 Yamaha MT-09 SP. What does the SP stand for? I don't know. Nobody really knows. And nobody really cares, actually. What you should care about is that this is one of the hottest bikes on the market right now. We've got it. We're gonna review it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about why you should own one. And of course, we're gonna take it for a ride. You guys ready? Let's do this. Meet the 2025 Yamaha MT-09 SP, the motorcycle equivalent of a midnight espresso shot. Bold, electrifying, and impossible to ignore. I love this bike. Now, I've never rode this bike before. I'm actually gonna ride it for the very first time today. But there's an array of different features on this bike that makes it a little bit unique versus the standard MT-09. Now, we can't really talk about a bike like this without also talking about its competition and for what it's similar to. In the Yamaha lineup, a very similar bike, what uses the same engine as this, is the Tracer 9 GT, which is right there. Now, I own that bike, the Tracer 9 GT, and it's actually a fantastic bike, but I've been told this has a little bit more pep than the Tracer 9, just how it's geared, because that's a sport touring bike, but this bike is for troublemakers. It's for hooligans, they say. It's to have fun in, right? So it's gonna have a little bit more under the hood, so to speak. And then over here, its competition would be the Z900 from Kawasaki, which I've also done a review on this bike. So I'm very familiar with that bike, but I have yet to ride a 900 MT from Yamaha, and I'm excited to actually give it a whirl right now. But let's talk real quickly about some of the different characteristics or some of the different qualities that make this bike unique and why you might want to own one. Starting in the front of the bike, you've got to obviously look at the nice KYB gold forks. I love how Yamaha uses a little bit of blue and silver and gold. I think it's a really nice combination. And they also use the Brembo brakes in this guy. It has a full suite of Brembo brake system, which, you know, I've been told is really great for stopping power. We're gonna give it a whirl here in a little bit, and I'm gonna tell you my feedback on what I think about it. But those are just a couple of things. And then obviously the nice LED headlight and signal lights up front. Lots of LED lighting on this MT-09 SP, but obviously very awesome looking bike in the front. A naked design, they call it the hyper naked bike, which is kind of something I can get on board with. I'm like slightly hyper and sometimes naked. And of course, the MT-09 would not be the 09 without the CP3 900cc engine. Now, this engine has been tried and true. It's super popular with a lot of different bikes, especially that Yamaha makes. Like I said before, they make the Tracer 9 GT, they've got the XSR 900 on that same platform. One thing that you will not see on the MT-09 is an exhaust. You don't see the exhaust here. They've just got the exhaust underneath. This is the same exhaust system that they use on the Tracer 9. And what's unique about this is that although it might look cooler with something back here, this really brings the center of gravity into the middle. All the weight's down here in the middle, which is going to be really great for handling on tight corners. And then of course the MT-09 SP, one of its signatures is the Öhlins rear suspension. This is a preload adjuster. It has a Öhlins piggyback suspension on the rear here. You can adjust the preload here manually, but the suspension package on this bike is literally what makes the bike. This bike is based around track performance, suspension, and just a couple of the other key features of this are cool, but when you buy this bike, you get great suspension. One of the biggest additions you're going to see in 25, or at least with the SP in general, is there's no key, okay? This is the key. Keyless ignition. You keep this thing in your pocket or your backpack or whatever, and there's no, as a keyless ignition that turns on. This thing's pretty sweet because, you know, there's nothing more annoying than having your key in the ignition and then having this guy flopping all over the place. So they really thought about that anyway as they were putting this thing together, which is pretty cool. As I turn the bike on, the TFT screen is super clean. You can see how it's set up very nice. Even though there's larger screens on the market, like a 7-inch, I think the 5-inch does it justice because this is a little bit more sporty. It's supposed to be a little bit more compact, and you don't want a big old television screen on the front of your bike, right? But one thing I noticed is that, first of all, the mode button is on the right-hand side. Now this switches you through different modes. You have street, sport, couple of custom modes, and of course a rain mode, which really dumbs everything down for if it's raining or if you're just trying to get used to the bike. Probably a safety feature that it is on the throttle side, which I can understand that. But on the left is a really intricate control center, basically is what I'd like to call it, with a nice kind of a joystick controller, home button, nice turn signals, cruise control on here. As we go through the controls, you can see if I hit that home button a couple times, you get different themes that are available. There are multiple themes on this guy, 4 themes and a track mode. The track mode is pretty sweet, as you can it'll basically gather all sorts of information for when you're at the track, lean angle, lap times, things like that. And kind of a cool feature that they added this in here, because this is going to drive you to want to go to the track. This is definitely a track bike, especially when you look at the screen and how it's laid out. I think that they did a really nice job with this. And when you take it out of the track mode and you put it back to the normal themes, at the very bottom of the screen, you can see actually 3 different multi-adjustable features where you can actually pick what you want to see on the bottom. You can choose odometer, air temperature, fuel economy. You can kind of customize that however you want to see it, whatever you want to see, which is very cool these days, to be able to have a bike that has enough technology in it to where you can really customize that. I actually enjoy this about my Tracer 9 GT. It's one of the things I noticed first is that, wow, it's got a really nice suite of different themes and different ways to set up the screen. Every rider's a little bit different, but this is definitely going to give you the ability to kind of see some different layouts and kind of decide for yourself what you like or what you don't like. And in my opinion, one of the coolest features of this bike is the advanced 6-axis IMU. For those of you that don't know, that's the same technology that they put in the R1 Superbike, and it has an array of different things like traction control, slide control, lift control. There's lots of different elements of control that can be adjusted to your situation, to your specific situation or your specific riding. You can also turn off the traction control and the ABS when you're in track mode. So definitely the IMU is very intuitive and will give you exactly what you want when you are riding this bike, and you can adjust it however you please. We can't talk about the MT-09 SP without talking about the 2 grills that are on the top of the fuel tank here. These are actually intake grills that help amplify the sound of the intake. If you've ever been on a 900 Yamaha of any variety, you'll know that it has a signature sound, and they really went the extra mile to help amplify that sound with these intake grills that basically give you that rider satisfaction when you're riding. I'm gonna point those things out when I'm riding. because I'm used to my Tracer 9, which doesn't have that. So it's going to be interesting to hear the difference of that with these intake grills. So that's pretty much it. I'm ready to ride this thing. I'm gonna put my gear on and we're gonna go for a ride, and we're gonna find out, is this the best naked bike on the market today? Let's take this thing for a ride. Let's see what this thing's all about. First impressions, the seat is not as slanted forward as some Yamaha bikes I've noticed. So it sits a little bit flatter, which is actually cool, because it's one of my biggest gripes of certain Yamaha bikes is that they slide you forward into the tank. This one actually feels like it's relatively flat and it's pretty comfortable. I just started off in rain mode there. I'm going to switch it over to street. It was definitely, rain mode was super sluggish. So I'm going to see if we can feel a difference here. A little bit better in the street, like just right away. Acceleration from a stop. We're going to get onto the highway here. In street mode. Woo. Yes, sir. This thing has some get up and go, and that's not even in sport. Definitely a lot windier than I'm used to because of the naked profile. However, it's manageable, you know. It's not the end of the world. Very comfortable at highway speeds. A wind deflector might help a little bit with that, but it's really not bad, you know. I mean, and I'm gonna pull over here, and I'm gonna switch us into, because I need to try that at highway speeds. I'm going to switch us into, you have to be coming to a stop to get into sport mode. So I'm going to switch us into sport mode, and we're going to go down the highway for just a second. Okay, we ready? Here we go. Test out the acceleration. Oh man. Whoa. Wow. That is definitely a lot faster. Definitely, I can almost feel the front end kicking off the ground. Now, I thought that it had self-canceling turn signals, but that one did not cancel on its own. Maybe because I just hadn't made a turn yet, which is possible. So, trying to get up and get past, even in 6th gear. Tons of power, tons of low-end torque on this guy to be able to pass whoever you want, probably at any speed. If it's in 6th, then I can imagine that it's in just about any speed. And let's see if we can get it up to 100 for a second here. this bike has tons of power. Definitely more than my Tracer 9. We're going to turn around right here, head to our twisty track, and we will test the self-canceling turn signals. So my turn signals are on. Let's see if that cancels when I do a turnaround here. I guess not. Maybe I'm just not in the right mode, but so we're gonna do a test here. How fast from 40 to 80. And here we go. That was a couple seconds, felt like. Split between a couple gears. This bike is pretty fun right out of the gate. We're about to head up to our little twisty road track that we always take. All right. Downshifting, extremely smooth. I will test the quick shifting ability. Oh, super smooth. Let's try it on the way down. Yamaha's quick shifter is very smooth on the way up, but a little bit tougher on the way down. But that one is definitely a bit smoother than my Tracer. So let's see how she handles in the turns here. Definitely is a nice day. The clouds parted for us, so the roads aren't too wet. And just as I anticipated, you don't even have to counter steer with this bike. It's, you lean and it's there. Feel like, you know, there's no steering stabilizer, but it feels like the handlebars are just solid. And I am still in the sport mode. Man. Man. This bike's a lot of fun, I tell you what. Definitely has more low end than, obviously, than like my R6, which is what I'm used to. Man, in sport mode, this thing just flies. Now, I'm not sure if I'm hearing the baffles, the grates on top of the fuel tank that amplify the sound, like I was talking about. But you know, it's hard because I got the helmet on. But I probably do, and I'm just not realizing it. So the controls are really easily laid out. I like how the turn signal is separate from the joystick up top here. So on my Tracer, they're kind of like side by side almost, and you can like get your thumb over and accidentally hit certain things, right? Definitely you have to lift your thumb up and down. I did not test out the cruise control, but I'm sure it works just fine. I had cruise control before, which is cool. I didn't need to test that out. But I could have swore that this thing had the self-canceling turn signals, but maybe I'm wrong. It is fairly easy to turn them off, though. I like the big buttons versus a small notchy button like my R6 has. A nice big button for a turn signal, so you can really feel, you know, you don't have to search around for it or even look down for it. It's just kind of like right there, which is pretty nice. But the bike handles wonderfully. It is everything that I expected from a naked sport bike. And there's a guy that doesn't know how to use the roundabout. Amazing. We've had this roundabout for a year now and nobody knows how to use it still. Well, that's about it, you guys. Gosh, you know, for a couple $1,000s more than the standard MT-09, I think that you get a fair amount between the suspension, which I haven't even touched. I want to leave it stock for whoever buys this bike. And, you know, between all the different amenities that this bike has to offer, the keyless entry, the keyless ignition, which is nice. I think it's a good bike. I think that if I was in the market for an MT-09, I would probably step up to the SP. I probably would. I just think when you're that close, like, why not go the extra mile? It's probably worth more on a resale end if you ever did sell it, which, gosh, I'd be hard pressed to sell this bike if I had it. But yeah, that's it. That was fun. Good little ride on the MT-09 SP. Handles really well. It's fun. I don't have many complaints about the bike. And yeah, I mean, look at it. It's beautiful. You know, it's sleek. The colorway is nice. Like I said before, like the gold with the blue and the silver. That's it. You know, if I ever decided to go into a naked bike, I think this is definitely the bike that I would choose. Hands down, after riding the Z900 from Kawasaki, which I really loved. I really enjoy this bike. You know, this bike is definitely a great looking, you know, something that's really aesthetically pleasing to a lot of people. And, you know, I can definitely see myself. I'm a fan of the Yamaha blue, and I like the silver package that goes with it. So that was a fun ride. And yeah, I'm gonna do my outro, and that's about it. All right. In closing, whether you're carving the corners or cruising through the streets, the distinctive dark side DNA of the Yamaha MT-09 SP is a bold statement in the realm of hyper naked sport bikes. Could this be the best naked sport bike on the market? I think that it could be, and I'm impressed. I know that I enjoyed it. I'm not sure I'm ready to sell the R6 and go for the MT-09 at this moment, but I think that it's a possibility in the future. I'm super impressed with this bike through and through, and if you guys are interested in purchasing this bike, I do have this one for sale at Wenatchee Power Sports. I want to thank Wenatchee Power Sports for being a sponsor of this channel, and that's about it. If you guys like this video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below or ask a question about this bike. I will respond to every single comment. Thank you guys for being here, and we will see you next time from Dual Sport. Have a great day.